a difficult choice to make in paradise. You die and go to paradise. On earth, you got married twice. Your first love died after 30 years of marriage. Your second partner lasted throughout the rest of your life, 30 years. You now have to make a decision to meet your first or second partner to live with in paradise. Who do you choose? Quite in depth, and I'm sure it's quite a dilemma if there is an afterlife place. So we are going to start with Adrian. We're going to give you the megaphone, and you're going to share your thoughts, answers, and ideas.
Well, firstly, that's not very paradisey, is it? I mean, you know, you're hit with paradise, you're told it's paradise, and already you're given misery. But let's go with his version of paradise. I think you go with ethically a combination of the same sort of decisions you make in the real world. You're going to upset somebody, assuming they both want to be with you. So you go with the one that's going to make them happier, and you go with the one that's going to make you happiest. And hopefully the two coincide. You know, it's kind of the same thing in real life, really. Same decision, paradise or not. There you go.
Thank you.
It's an interesting thought, and just a bit of philosophy here. I'm not a philosopher, but I think anybody can be a philosopher when they put their mind to it. And that is the only way for you to experience complete happiness in paradise is to have a base that there is misery and sadness. You almost need that negativity in order to consider the positive, if you think about it. All right.
And to grow.
Yeah, and to grow. All right, so now let's head over to Halion Aeon.
Alien, hi. Megaphone's yours.
We'll do that again. Don't worry.
Again.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
That's it. I always press the button at the wrong time as you're doing it. So, wow. Difficult one, because obviously it would vary from one person to the other. I think I'd probably go by a change is as good as a rest. So I'd probably go back to the first one. Since there's no real telling, isn't there, really? But yeah, she says Adrian sounds a bit of a nightmare having two wives there.
Can't handle one, let alone having two.
Well, this is it, and it's very hard, isn't it? But either way, the other one's going to nag you throughout eternity, so you may as well go to hell and have a choice. But do it differently. I think I'd.
It's another way of thinking about it.
I think I'd ask for a review of my life and point out a few of my naughtier things that I've done, and then yeah, I could go down the bottom. I wouldn't have to put it with either of them then. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
No.
It's a tough one. Yeah, it is definitely. And let's head over to Dylan.
Dylan, hi. How are you?
Hi. Well, I'm assuming that if you moved on to your second partner, you've probably gotten over the first one already. So you would probably have I would choose the second one. But in real life, why do you have to choose either or? Why can't you just buy a big bed and I can have the first husband on my one side and the second husband, and so weights underneath it so the bed doesn't break? And then another thing to consider is if the first love might have been reincarnated as an ant and found another ant, and then when you come back as an ant, they might be surprised, and they might say, "Oh, I'll go with you," but maybe they already found another ant. There's all kinds of different options, but I think ideally you should be able to have your first wife and your second wife by you at your side and just buy a big bed. That's my solution.
It's a good solution, but the thing is, the thing is, we got to think that what are the intentions of the deceased, for example? Have they moved on? Are they waiting for you? These are interesting questions to have. All right.
Well, in France, when Mitterrand died, the president, his wife showed up at the funeral, and so did his mistress. So in some countries, they do it well.
All right. Thank you. Maximus Comfort, hello and welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can. Hi.
Yeah, okay, you can. Okay. The first one is the one that you first met and you were young, so you kind of grew together for the first 30 years, and that's really serious times because that's when the kids come and you get yourself kind of sorted. And then if she dies real quick or dies at 30 years, it's a devastating situation. You never get over it. And then when you do meet the second one, it's not the same. And it's just passing your time and have somebody to help you out when you get older. That's all there is. But the first one is the dynamic one. That's the one where you do the biological stuff. That's very important. That's all I have to say.
All right. I just thought of a question, an idea, Ali. Is this why in a lot of religions that once you get married and the person dies, you wear black for the rest of your life, and not
That's
being
right.
able
That's
to
right.
find another spouse?
You wear black for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I guess, but I can't really grasp
So-
the concept of having to wear black.
My
for the rest
father
of your
did.
life.
Oh, your father did.
Yep.
So it must be that.
And he never married. And he never married again.
So I mean, if you're it's called future fatal. But if you're a future fatalist, where you believe that there is an afterlife, then it kind of makes sense why you wouldn't marry again to avoid that conflict in the next realm. Interesting. Thank you, Maximus Comfort. Guy Smiley, hello and welcome.
Guy Smiley, hi. Megaphone's yours.
If you wish to speak or pass, of course.
Try one more time.
Yes. We give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Definitely. There we go.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello,
Guy.
can you hear me
Hi.
Yes.
Yes.
now? I think this is a really tough question because, like Maximus said there, your first one, if you're married that long, is probably your soulmate, I'm assuming. And to go to another one after 30 years would be very tough. My grandparents never remarried after the other one passed, so it's hard to say, I guess. Myself, probably not. I've been married for 24 years now, and can't imagine remarrying after she's gone, so that's about all I have to say on
Wow.
this subject. So
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Guy, and very
Thank
welcome to you. For those who haven't spoken that are on the left side of me, you can raise your hand if you would like to present your answer, thoughts, and ideas. But I'm going to carry on going around, and then we will catch up. Yellow Majesty, good day and welcome. We will get to everybody, don't worry.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good to be here.
Awesome.
I think this question, pretty much answering this question, depends on conception of paradise. There are so many different conceptions and prerequisites of what makes a paradise and how we can reach that. I think I would go with the notion that is presented in the Bhagavad Gita, which is basically that in order for you to reach paradise, you need to resolve all your earthly attachments, including your feelings and emotions for your loved ones. Otherwise, it will become very difficult to go back to the original source. So I wouldn't choose any one of them.
Start off fresh. Find someone new. All right. Thank you. Bossok. I don't know how to say that. You're gonna have to help me.
Yellow Majesty, I just want to ask you, did you finish speaking or did something happen? Sorry. Had you
Oh yeah,
finished?
well, there was just one more thing. I had a remark regarding this idea of wearing black. No, Johnny Cash, he wore black all his life, basically. I'm not sure if that had to do anything with Future Federalist or not, but I also wear lots of black clothes, but I don't
Yeah, me
remorse.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not mourning for anyone. I love black as
Yeah.
well. Cool. Okay. Thank you, Yellow Majesty. Sorry, I just had a feeling you weren't finished, so I wanted to ask you. So, a megaphone next for Bosok. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. Please help me.
It's just
Hi.
Bozok. Hi.
Bosok. Okay.
Um,
Hi, welcome.
would it be like, could we just go to the paradise and not be with anyone, and like just be with just random people? Do you know what I mean? Like not like loads of random people, but just. Sorry, I didn't really even hear the question, so.
Do you see the question
the
here is
question-
behind? Go for it, Ali.
So the question is, you die and you go to paradise. On Earth, you got married twice. Your first love died after 30 years of marriage. Your second partner lasted throughout the rest of your life, so the other 30 years. You now have to make a decision to meet your first or your second partner to live with in paradise. Who do you choose?
I'd probably go with the second one. I would have like moved on from the first one, and I would have got into a different relationship if I was ready, and I wouldn't really go back on that.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Straightforward
Thank you.
answer, the way we like it. Molly, hello and welcome.
Molly, nice to have you here. How are you? Hi.
Very good, thank you. That is an excellent question.
Thank you.
Very tough. I think I would have to agree with. I'm sorry, I'm pointing at you. Oh, her. I think I would have to agree with her though, because she more than likely you moved on. But I wouldn't know how to answer because this has been the case with me. So I mean, I haven't died yet, of course, that I know of. But yeah, I don't know if I because I that's a really good question. I don't know. I have no idea what I would do. I think I like your answer though about just the first one about just like because I believe that there is no marriage in heaven if you believe in heaven, if that's where you believe you go, because that's what the Bible says. There is no marriage in heaven. So I don't think you're with anyone. But if you had to choose, yeah, that would be a tough question. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
So you're not sure who you would go with. Okay, awesome. But thank you, Molly. Awesome. Nice to
No,
have
I
you
would
on
go with
board.
my present husband. I would go with my present husband. I would.
All right.
Oh, you would. Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have is Jackson O. Hello there.
Jax, hi. Who would you choose?
All right. So listening to the inputs from you guys, awesome. That's number one. Number two, for me, it all depends on what was the occasion in which the first partner left. Right. It's very hard to really say, hey, will it be the first one or will it be the second one? Mainly because, hey, what if the first one died of a tragedy and you never really got over the death? And so the second one came in as a comfort, and it happens sometimes, right? In different relationships, came to help you rebuild yourself and as a comfort to help supplement for the fact that you lost your first loved one. Or what if it was such a not so great relationship with your first marriage, and so the second one was much better? So for me, it's like if I would have to choose, it's really hard to make a choice now because it would depend on the scenario that I'm in, which would lead to A, am I still trying to recover from my first love? Or B, is it that my first love departed, we departed on bad terms, and the second one help fulfill that gap that was not being met. So I don't know if I kind of overthought the process, but that's just my concept of thought when it comes to this.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for your energy.
Made perfect sense.
Definitely.
There is a lot of energy, huh? Maybe it's all that wine I had earlier.
Oh, it
Nope.
works. You've brought the energy into this virtual room. Thank you so much, Jackson. Ali, your thoughts.
So, before I go ahead and answer, I see there are new people in the room. I'm going to repeat the question. Ultra Funky, hi, nice to see you. Nice of you to join. And Fancy as well. I see you guys have just joined. I'm going to read the question one more time in case you guys haven't heard it. And we're going to go to you guys and hear your opinions before we open the table. Before I say, and Tim as well, and then before we open the table. So the question is, one more time. You die, and you go to paradise. On earth, you got married twice. Your first love died after 30 years of marriage. Your second partner lasted throughout the rest of your life, so the rest of your 30 years. You now have to make a decision to meet your first or your second partner to live with in paradise. Who do you choose? So let's go to Ultra Funky. Megaphone's yours. Hi.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, it was a long time since I was here last, but now I'm back. Nice seeing you all.
And us
see
too,
here,
Dory.
a question here. So when I go to heaven, I don't have the chance to meet these two persons. I just have to just choose when I go up there. Do I go with the first one or the second one? Is that correct?
Well,
Yes.
you can meet them if you want and still choose afterwards. I mean, it's up to your interpretation.
Okay, very well, very well. Easy. You know, everybody, how do you say, mature, evolve as a person. So you don't know who you are, but when you die, you probably know who you are in the way that, yeah, you have matured, and you don't know which one of the two persons you were married to is the person that matches you the best right now. Because if the first marriage was a more mature person, maybe that person is easier for you to get along with now when you have 60 years under your belt, and the other one doesn't. So I would say, like, go with the one that fits me the best. And I would say, in one way, an easy choice, because I live after this. It's not how much you love a person, it's how the person makes you feel. And I would go with the person that makes me feel the best. So that would be my take on it. Very easy. That I would talk to them and decide from that.
Very nice. Thank you, Ultra
Awesome.
Funky. Very, very nice.
Thank you, awesome. Thank you. So let's go to Fancy.
Hi, Fancy. Welcome to the Social Dilemma.
Megaphone is yours.
If you would like.
Of course.
Well, I kind of agree what he said. It was really, yeah, I go with what he says. And the one in the yellow plaid shirt up there.
Next, yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank
Would you like to
Fancy.
elaborate on it a little bit, or you're just going to leave it at that? It's fine. Whatever you choose.
I'll leave
I'm
it
just
at
asking.
that.
Okay, awesome. 100%. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us. So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Joel, hi. What would you do? Megaphone's yours.
Oh, I've thought about this. Relates to me. I say I agree with him. I have the feeling he sided with whatever gets your curiosity going more. So, like, let's say with an old marriage, you probably run out of curiosity, and it wouldn't have ended anyway if you had that curiosity mutually, respectfully. So, so like with a new one, I just got here at the end, but I would say go with what your curiosity says the most.
how it reaches levels.
Perfect.
I wouldn't be sure, but
Yes, sorry, you were saying?
no,
I lost-
yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So you,
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. Say, I'm having a lag with sound. Sorry, my sound's delayed. Please do carry on.
yeah, I think that if the past is the past, you should have acquaintance for that. You don't know why it's ended. You don't know their feelings. They've probably drifted anyway. They probably drifted to another person. So, and when you go to heaven, you're meant to meet someone totally new anyway. I suppose. I've always imagined.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Should we go to Z?
Aziz, hi. Nice to have you. How are you? Megaphone's yours.
Hey, I was listening and enjoying my ice cream with you guys. Just arrived. Yes. I think I agree with Ultra Funky because I think it depends on your relationships and how you feel with these people. However, I didn't enough time to think, but I think it's still, sorry, a little bit noisy. Still, I think it's important to really understand what's going on in the paradise. So it's very strange. So strange sounds, I'm sorry. My husband is playing. And yeah. And I think that on the other hand, maybe I wouldn't want to choose anybody there. Maybe because like it's Earth life and I have one experience here, and maybe in the paradise I'm gonna have some. I honestly I don't believe in this concept of paradise because it's too straightforward. I think that it could be some kind of a different level, and whenever I believe that if you go to that level, you kind of forget everything. It's so much different that you wouldn't even look back and use those experiences. They're going to be somewhere in your feelings, but the memories probably are going to be lost. So yeah, probably I'll choose that, choosing nobody.
Interesting.
Thanks.
Thank you, Izzy. If there's one thing we're picking up in the social dilemma, and as our consciousness is becoming more expanded with the way we're thinking, is the less we believe in actual soulmates, because what if the first person was the so-called soulmate, and then obviously they passed away, and then all of a sudden you found another soulmate? Then the thing is, it's just a manifestation of what you truly believe the person is for your life, for that current stage of where you are in life. So interesting. Ali, can we go to you before we go to anyone else?
Yes, I have two answers. So, my first answer from a human point of view and a mind point of view, it depends on the chemistry that I had with each partner. So if I felt that I had a connection with the first one or the second one, I would choose the one that I had the connection with, or the deeper bond, and it's a relationship, so to say. From a spiritualistic point of view, I would choose the difficult option. Why? Because when you get into the spiritual side of things, you have a relationship to grow, to evolve. And then what's the point of going to heaven and just carrying on in the comfort zone without the potential to grow and evolve? So I would go with a more difficult option from a spiritual and more awakened point of view.
Which is the difficult option?
The difficult option is the one that I had the most challenges with.
Oh.
And the most difficult relationship with.
Okay.
That I can sort through that.
Okay.
And then I can evolve higher.
Very interesting. Ooh. Quite a twist.
Yeah.
What would I do?
I want to hear your answer. I would love to hear your answer.
I think...
Before we carry on.
Yeah. Okay, so I go to paradise, right? And then I'm thinking, for the first 30 years, I met up with somebody, had an amazing marriage, and the thing is, that was the perfect relationship within those experiences of that part of my life. So obviously, that part of the life, there was a lot more energy, physical, probably a lot of sex, a lot of entertainment, traveling, you know, the vibrant type of relationship. And then the person died. I'm obviously a lot older. I'm probably 50 or 60 now. I find someone else that is perfect, that caters to me within who I am at that stage for the next 30 years. And then I go to paradise, and the question is, how old am I? You know, do I go to paradise and I say, okay, I'm 90 years of age or 100 years of age, and now I've got to choose the person that I had a very simple marriage? Or do I go to paradise and say, all right, I'm going back to my younger days, and based on the compatibility that I had with the first person, I will go back there. And then I've got a whole bunch more questions saying, is the person waiting for me? Are we going to be compatible? You know, the way the world works was probably how the relationship molded. And now all of a sudden you're in this new realm, new experiences, new dimensions that you have to experience with the person. And it's a really tough one. I would agree with, I think it was Ultra Funky who said, you know, go and talk to both of them. And that's probably the best thing you can do. Start all over again. Get to know them. Talk to them. See, you know, what do they want to get out of it? How are they feeling? Because where you are and how you're feeling and your circumstances mold as to where you want to go in the direction you want to move. So I'm indifferent right now with who would I choose, Ali. It's a tough one. I would like to go to Dr. Sam though. Dr. Sam, a very welcome to you.
Thank you, Timon. Good evening, Ali and Timon. My apologies for being late. I was stuck in a international Zoom meeting and I couldn't get out of it. I would have rather been here. It's actually a very interesting topic. And it's actually a topic that is quite close to my heart. And the reason is very simple. Is I have been married twice. My second wife lost her husband in a car accident, and I adopted their children at a very young age. And their children, her children, always asked me, if my daddy came back, would you let my mother go back to my daddy? So that's a strange, it's not identical, but it's a very similar situation. So if I landed up in paradise, I think it would depend on which me landed up in paradise. Because I love the music in the background, but which me landed up
it's
in
relevant.
paradise. So if the young me landed up in paradise, I would obviously choose my first wife, because then we were in sync at that stage of our lives. If the older me arrived in paradise and I had matured into obviously a different person, because we all do change. Some of us become more cantankerous as we get older. Then I would choose my second wife. So I don't have a definitive answer, because I don't know which me would land up in paradise. That's it from me, Timon. Thanks.
It's so funny that
It's a tough one. Thank you,
but you know what? It's actually it also makes me a bit angry, because, like, I know I wrote this question because it says who do you choose, and it's like there's billions of people there were 7 billion people that were on Earth. There were tens of billions of people that were on Earth before that, and now we end up in paradise. We start up in paradise, and we already have this conflict as to, oh, I've got to choose a partner. Is this person waiting for me? Because you often hear them saying, "Don't worry. When you die, they'll be waiting for you," as if you know what the hell is in their mind when they probably have created their own family or whatever they create. And then us people on Earth are creating these expectations of who we think the person that died on Earth is when we get there. And it's almost like, say, for example, my grandfather. My grandfather died 3 years ago, right? He was 97. Now, when I go to heaven, I expect to see my 90-year-old grandfather there. But I'm probably going to see, like, if there is obviously a heaven, I'm probably going to see like a 30-year-old grandfather. He's not going to be the grandfather I know or really love. It's going to be probably the mischievous, rebellious type of grandfather. But yeah, these are interesting questions, when we actually get around it, because we don't get to have these conversations at all. All right, so for those who have just joined, and for those who've just been here recently, welcome to the Dilemma Lounge. The social dilemmas today. And if you want reminders on these events, make sure you go to the Facebook group VR Digital Citizens. Can I just get a show of emojis if the reminders on Facebook help, so that I know why you pop in to the event? All right, that's good. That's good, because I don't expect you to always be on VR. We do have a live. Yes, so now the table is opened to discussion, and we're going to start with Jacksono, Mr. Energy.
All right, go team, go. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
loud and
we're good?
clear.
All right. So, question, right? Well, I mean, it could be a rhetorical question or something that you guys can throw in your opinion on. Is that age is really defined by our physical state of being, right? Like, this flesh, this blood, it's by the laws and the nature of the world we can see. But if we were to die and go to paradise, we would no longer be in this state of material body, but a spiritual sense, right? Because, energy can never be destroyed, but we all heard it before in high school or middle school. Energy cannot be destroyed, but transformed. So therefore, what does that energy become? So therefore, like, if we were to go to paradise, will we actually be a 30-year-old us, a 90-year-old us, or more like a infinite us, to where we actually have like a permanent state of being where there's no beginning or an end? And so that kind of like brings up the question, like, what would you meet in that kind of state of existence? Where we're no longer in a physical body where we can determine our age based on a birthday, but in a spiritual state of, or a transformation of energy, which has a completely different set of laws that we have yet to tap into. So what would be waiting for us on the other side?
Well,
Who knows, right?
Well, the thing is, I mean, I love that question, because when you say, are we going to be in our bodies? Are we going to be thinking the way we are? Are we going to have a so-called energy? And I do that in inverted commas, because whenever you're talking about anything regarding the laws and the rules of the universe, it's based on one thing: cause and effect. And, in paradise, according to many religious, there is no cause and effect. If there's cause and effect, then everything has reason and has logic and has science, correct? But all of a sudden, when we are in like this paradise, we can call it magic, where there is no cause and effect and anything is everything. Just like the philosophical debate that everything is nothing. The universe started off with nothing and then became everything. The yin and yang, it creates the imbalance, creates the balance. So it's quite amazing. Thank you, Jacksino. Let's head over to Halion.
Hey, got it first time. Okay. 2 points actually. The first is the pedantic point, which the way you've written that there, it doesn't actually say that the second partner has actually died yet. It says you've died and your first love died 30 years ago. Your second partner, that's it now for the rest of your life. It doesn't actually say she's died. I assume you mean that you both died together, I guess, or she had already died earlier. But given that I take you mean they're both there, you see, the thing is, except in the ridiculous issue of paradise in the first place, but your first love will have been there 60 years by now, won't it? Sorry, 30 years. She'll have been in paradise for 30 years. She won't have known, possibly, she's looking down from on high, that you got married again. Because as far as she was concerned, she was happily married to you. It lasted 30 years, and then she died. Okay? So she's up in heaven waiting for you to come up and join her. And then all of a sudden, 30 years later, you come up, and she's running over to you. Oh, my love, my love, I've missed you for 30 years.
Yeah.
And as you say, no, sorry, I want to be with this other person. I think that's a bit unfair.
Yeah.
Whereas the second person, assuming she's there, the second wife, will have known that you had the first wife. So she'll perhaps at least be understanding if you chose the first wife, because she'd know there was the moral dilemma, and she's obviously been to one of these VR meetings. And so she would perhaps be more understanding if you chose the first one. Whereas the first one just wouldn't know what was going on if you chose somebody else.
And you can imagine
the fight up in heaven. I died, and you moved on.
Yeah,
You
it's
didn't
like-
wait for me. Oh my god.
Yeah, 30 years.
yeah, turning heaven into hell within
it'd be a bit unfair
within
on
day
first
one. But also it's a good point. It's a good point because yes, it doesn't state. It only shows according to your interpretation as to did she die? Has she died yet? So if she hasn't died, and you're in heaven, then the question is: are you just going to wait for her? You know, that could be another.
right, yeah.
That could be another 20 years, and then karma hits you in heaven. Oh, beautiful.
Anyway.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, let's head over to Ultra Funky.
Yeah. Okay. A thought to Halion. I'm thinking like this: if she's waiting for you for 60 years, or at least she's been waiting for you, and I'm thinking like this: would she really wait for you? And when you come up to that person or her in heaven, you haven't learned anything because you haven't been with another woman, so you have not matured. So you have lost things in your life on earth, or the possibility to learn. So when you meet her, you won't have the
Commonalities.
same knowledge, so you wouldn't be able to meet her where you need to meet the person when you're 60 years old. So I'm thinking like this: maybe it's not so bad to continue and have a relationship even if you lose one, because you're going to win in the end in heaven, because you're going to have the same maturity and age. I'm just a thought. So I don't see that as a problem. I think that would be a really sweet thing if everybody matured, even if they were in heaven and you stayed on earth. Just a thought.
Well, I'm gonna throw a spanner right in the works and say that imagine this relationship for the first 30 years is one where you had children with the person, and you and the child lived to obviously the child got brought up, you brought them up together, and there was a stronger bond within a relationship of a family, and the other relationship was, yes, there was a bit of love and affection and all that, but it wasn't actually the creation of the family, but rather the filling of the void inside your life. Then it's based on the balance of how strong the relationship was, because if you died and you're now waiting for the woman or the spouse that was with you for the last 30 years and had hardly any experience with life, just every day in the house watching TV and eating, and the other one you had a full life with children and all that, then the question is, are you going to do also what, like the children? The children are also going to go to heaven. And are you going to meet up as a whole family, or are you going to be divorced in heaven as well? Oh, poor children. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I can't stop. Ali, any thoughts on your side before we move to the next caller? Caller, what do I think I am? I feel like I'm in a 60s show. All right, let's head over to the next caller. Molly.
Okay, so you know what? I'm glad that I came to this discussion because I always had the question, why is there not marriage in heaven? Because I thought that I wouldn't want to be in eternity without my spouse. But you know what? God foresaw all these problems that you may have because if your wife dies after 30 years and then you come and decide that you're going to stay with the next wife that you were with 30 years, so that leaves the other person alone for eternity. So I believe that there is no marriage or thing like that in heaven for eternity, just for this very reason, because then someone's going to be left out. So that's just my observance, and now I can understand why there would not be marriage in heaven because of that.
So you think everyone can just sleep with everyone in heaven, no marriage, just love, just...
Okay, depends on what you believe. Depends on your belief whether there's sex in heaven. I know people say, well, if there's no sex in heaven, I don't want to go there, blah, blah, blah. I don't know whether there's or not, but surely God has a plan, and it's going to be whatever it is. We are going to love it. Whatever his plan is, because there's no sadness there or anything like that. So whatever it is, we're going to love it. It's just that on our earthly minds, we're thinking on a different level and not seeing the big picture that, of course, we cannot see.
Yeah, I mean, we're thinking on a human level. We're thinking of a human level. We're comparing our own senses, our own limitations. We're comparing our own feelings, and there probably isn't anything like that in another realm, because it is most.
Love everybody.
Well, yeah,
You're right.
Perfect. Thank you, Molly. Let's head over to you're raising your hand, Donnie. Let's see.
Hey.
Find Donnie, Ali.
Yes, on it. Hey, Donnie. Okay, there we go. Megaphone's yours.
I would like to understand the concept of you saying if you go into another world, like say you pass away, right, and you go into another world, love between anybody, regardless of the aspect that it happened in, regardless of what, if it was like under the structure of, like, say, marriage or whatnot, wouldn't the concept being of to love everybody and love thy neighbor and love everyone else, wouldn't you have that aspect for both people, and not just applicable to yourself, but applicable to everyone else around you? It wouldn't just be, should I have a decision between one person and another person? You would love both of those people equally, right?
Well, you got.
I was on the same wavelength before. Yeah, sorry, Tim. Say.
You just got to weigh up. For example, if you love them equally, then you need to spend the same amount of time and energy with each person. It's almost like having custody with your own wife.
In your description, one person has passed away, right?
Yes.
But you would have equally loved the person that passed away and equally loved the next person. You can love multiple people. You don't have to give credence to one individual person. You can love as many people equally.
Love has different levels, right, Donnie. Love has different levels. For example, the way you love your PlayStation is different to the way you love your God, to your animals, to your friends, to your family, to your spouse. And you're going to be doing...
It's not different to how you love a person. Like, if you love a person and they passed away and you love another person, you're not giving, like, being unfaithful to the original person. You're loving another person, and 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 equally back on to you as well.
I guess so.
Do you not think?
But it also, you know, you're not the same person. The person that 30 years ago or 60 years ago is not you. Your experiences, upbringing, traditions, cultures, and everything around you of the people you meet make who you are. So when you die and you know you were with this person for 30 years and you end up being 90 years of age, you might have all these doubts saying, geez, how could I have married this rebellious cocaine sniffing woman when I've got a lot more stable woman now? But you're just comparing who you are rather than who you were.
But you're making it a choice.
Yes.
And you're giving the option as in one person is benign and the other person maybe isn't. But both people are as just as acceptable as love as everyone else is. There is no difference between someone that you met 30 years ago or someone that you might meet 30 years in the future.
Yeah. Look, it's not up to my thoughts. It's actually up to the interpretation. So you've joined us where the table's opened, but if you go to VR Digital Citizens on Facebook when the video is uploaded, you can listen to everybody's thoughts. But it's definitely not mine. This is an event discussion. I'm going to head over to the next person, and that is Sono Fit Tall 2. Son of a tail. Son of a tall 2. Something. Are you around? Are you still here?
And just to remind you, there are no right or wrong answers. This is just purely up to your interpretation and just to express your opinion. So there's no right or wrong answer. There's no judgment.
Exactly.
Everyone has their own opinion, and all opinions are totally accepted and understood.
Let's go
I
to
just wanted to
Jim.
put it out there as well.
Jim, are you there? You're on live, on the air. Where is everybody? They're raising their hands, but they're not answering when I give it to them. Okay, let's go to Dr. Sam.
Timon, just a thought on the previous speaker. You're making a geocentric assumption that marriage is between two people. So, but there are a number of cultures in this world that believe that in polygamy. So, if you believe in polygamy, that takes away this dilemma. If you can change your belief system when you get to paradise, you can adopt a woman. I mean, some religions allow you to have up to 4 wives. So that immediately does away with the dilemma of having to choose, because choosing is always painful. And 3 of you can live in harmony and peace and occasionally have a threesome if it's allowed in paradise.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sam. All right, straight at it. Okay, Bozok.
Hi. So you said that there were tens of billions of other people in paradise.
Yes.
And I would think of paradise as being like a new adventure. So maybe meet new people instead of just be with the people that I was with back on Earth.
I mean, you know, when you're on Earth, you're kind of choosing the spouse that you believe that you deserve within the means that you have on Earth. And I can imagine that when people die and they go to heaven or paradise or whatever, they are going to be so overwhelmed by the possibilities and number of opportunities rather than just making their lives the way it was, you know, same routine, same things. Like, I could imagine that you're reborn to new opportunities, and you don't need to limit yourself. You can let yourself fly. But then it does go against the idea. It does go against the idea of the soulmate. And I think we do need to have that discussion, because...
But then why would you get married with the first person? Like, you would think the first person is your soulmate, and then so you'd move on to the second person, and then you think they're your soulmate.
Exactly.
So why can't you have like a third soulmate?
Exactly. It's
however many soulmates you want.
It's subjective within your own.
To go into that, we have to understand what a soulmate is. Well, not understand. We have to have a definition to what a soulmate is and what the purpose of a soulmate is. Is it truly just for a love relationship? Is it for spiritual involvement? There are a lot of aspects to that.
I think we could have a great social dilemma to that. Yeah, Ali.
What if we did go to paradise, right? And all sense of social attachments and codependencies were released of us. So we would actually go there and we would meet everybody that we shared life with. And there was just interaction without those cords of attachment to them. For example, when you get married here on Earth, you're expected, because obviously we're in a physical body here, okay, considering that if we go to paradise, we don't have a physical body, you're not going to sleep around, you're going to just stick to your spouse. But being in heaven, not having a physical body, you can interact with everybody, and there isn't that attachment of having to stay loyal just to the one person, loyal in the sense of physical interaction. I don't know if I'm making any sense here. I'm sure Azim might be able to understand what I'm saying. And you wouldn't really have to make a choice. You would be able to all live in perfect
harmony,
like a family, coordination, harmony, and it would just work like a family.
Well, yeah,
it
that's...
wouldn't be paradise if it wasn't, right? Everyone would just be a community.
Yeah.
That's what paradise is.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Good thoughts. Thanks, Ali. All right. Let's go to St. Justin. St. Justin, hello there. Are you there? All right. We'll pop back in. NY Sideburns.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. Hi.
Oh, sorry about that. So whenever I hear these kind of questions, I always like to dispel, I guess, some of the myths regarding reincarnation. If you physically detach from your body and you become a spirit, you can pretty much go anywhere. I mean, paradise could literally be, spiritually going to Jamaica, and, living on a beach for the rest of your existence. You could die on a beach and then come back and live in the United States. You could go to another planet. Spiritually, you could go anywhere. So I don't understand the question when people say you're going to go to paradise. Well, where is that? It could be anywhere. Literally, you could just find a beach, find a rich person, and become that person. There you go. Now you're in paradise. So what? I just think that there's a lot of myths and a lot of things surrounding reincarnation. It just seems odd. It poses an odd question.
Unless paradise is unless paradise is the way the ultimate creator imagined it to be, we end up in the Garden of Eden, for example, and that it's his paradise, not ours. Who says it's our paradise? It's just called paradise.
Yeah, who's to say that we're not the paradise for another person from another planet? We could literally be the paradise for another alien that lived on another planet, died, then came to this planet, and now you know.
But then we are very.
We're the heaven for that alien.
But then we're very limited as to choosing what our paradise is, because, like you said, somebody dies and goes to Jamaica. I mean, how limited can your mind be within one tiny, planet in the entire universe of potential multiverses of other dimensions, where we cannot even fathom what paradise would be. Like, in my mind, I'm saying, as long as there's internet. I mean, how narrow-minded can I be when there is an existence of things that have been around for over 11 billion years? Food for thought.
Well, I mean, getting there, that would be the struggle. Getting to that other paradise, or even finding that other paradise.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a guiding force that guides you to that paradise, well, then that's awesome. That's great. But if you have the ability to get there and it's your choice to actually go there, well, then it might be a struggle. It might be riding on a light beam for 100,000 years. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be a long time.
Yeah. Well, if you consider that time is the same when you die than when you're awake, it's almost like when you go to sleep, there is no time. But thank you, Justin. We are running a bit out of time talking about it. Let's just go to Dr. Sam. Dr. Sam, are you there? I see you've got your hand risen.
Yeah. Hi, Timon. I wanted to just respond to Bossa Q with a true story, but just to respond to Saint Justin. Obviously, I don't believe that there is a paradise, and I think when you come to a function like this, you've got to make a little bit of make-believe, and have a great imagination. That's just my thoughts on it. Bosiku, just to tell you a true story that happened to me. 3 weeks ago, my best friends committed suicide, and they made a pledge that they would meet in heaven. So that is a very strong belief in some people that there is a paradise, and they two relatively young people that I was best man at their wedding committed suicide together, and in a written pledge they said they'll meet in heaven.
Or nowhere. They
Thank
said
you.
there's 50-50.
Oh yes, in his letter he said that's correct. In his letter there's a 50-50 chance that we'll meet in heaven. Yeah, it's true.
All right, thank you. Sad note to leave on. I think we should go to one more person. Mr. Energy.
Oh, I believe that's me.
That's you.
My bad.
Thanks, yes.
All right, cool. I mean, a few things to think about, right? I appreciate all the comments. I mean, phenomenal, right? Like, outstanding comments coming in from different backgrounds, different ways of upbringing, and stuff like that. But the whole concept about a soulmate to a partner, right? It seems like that one of the driving forces that we want to remain married, in paradise, seem to be driven on sexual encounter. That's apparently what it is, right? Because a life partner, right? It could be a best friend. I mean, it doesn't have to be, a person that you're married to. It could be someone that you grew up with, and that's your best friend. And so when we put the vibe up here about, which one would you choose? It's like, would you really want to choose, between a spouse or maybe that lifelong friend that you grew up with, or that family member that means so much to you? You know what I'm saying? It's like, because once we get out of these bodies, same kind of sensations that we would have when it comes to, let's say, sexual intercourse, which is only really geared towards the flesh, probably won't exist in the spirit. Because once we leave these bodies, it's going to be purely conscious, in my opinion, right? A conscious thought. And so your conscious thought doesn't really drive by what's below your belly button, but rather what appeals to your conscience, and that may not even be a spouse. I mean, it could be someone, like I said before, you grew up with, a family member, so many different dynamics. So why would you want to limit yourself to something that you experience in the flesh when you transcend beyond this body? There is like, an array of possibilities that you can like really climb, the heights to and keep going, higher and greater things. So it's about keeping an open mind, in my opinion.
Let me
So
tell
if
you
I had to
something.
choose the two, I
Yeah.
would just choose life and life more abundantly.
Beautiful. Let me tell you something. I don't know, Jax, I don't know if you came here when we started this event. Haley, and I know you've been here the whole time, so thank you, and Dylan, and a few other people. But this is why I love these social events. Because when we started off, we posed the question, we thought it was a really good question, and the answers that we had in the beginning were very simple. You know, basically yes, no, and look at the level that we have transcended and ascended upon within this line of thinking. And that's why I love this type of event. Ali?
Yeah, definitely. Where we start and where we get, and how it's amazing to see how open-minded people are and how we are evolving as well.
And we've had such an amazing group of people. So thank you for joining the Social Dilemma. Feel free to enjoy a Mediterranean experience at the Greek Taverna on the far right in the portal if you want. And I hope to see you and Ali and I at Omar Brain, where we'll talk about NFTs. And on Friday Thursday's NFTs. Join the VR Digital Citizens on Facebook for reminders. And Friday is the Moral Dilemma, which is a lot more spicier and solemn this week, unfortunately. But it's the Moral Dilemma. So thank you so much for joining. You can even stick around if you want, get to know each other. We always have a really great group of people.
Timon, you're the king of alt space.
Thank you, Dylan. Really appreciate it.
I shit my pants on Tuesday.
No, save it till Thursday.
Too much energy.
Hiding behind the couch.
Cheerio. Goodbye from me.
Bye-bye. Thank you all for joining. See you on Thursday. It's nice seeing you all.
What?
Some people are bored.
How do you go home? I forgot how to go home. I can't go home, Ali. Oh, there's a title screen here. Okay.